I have another fragment for us this fine evening. The headline reads as follows. Do not make a right wrong two, and the body of the fragment reads, if two wrongs do not make a right, then hold shut your mouth and say not that two wrongs do not make a right. For two wrongs do not make a right is a picturesque commonplace spoken to the child who bloodied the nose of the original aggressor on the playground, whilst at home the charismatic newsman relates with enthusiastic accuracy the genius behind our newest missile guidance system aimed at stopping and eliminating backyard threats to our safety, security, and freedom. My friends, tonight we gather around a contradiction so old it has become invisible, a contradiction so elegant, so picturesque, it now wears the robes of wisdom. It is spoken in a gentle tone, usually to a child, and it sounds like peace, sounds like wisdom, sounds like good parenting. Two wrongs do not make a right. We've all heard it. Most of us have said it. But tonight, I ask you to pause. Hold the phrase in your hand. Weigh it. Shake it slightly. Does it hold together? Or does something inside rattle? Let us return to the full fragment. If two wrongs do not make a right, then hold shut your mouth and say not that two wrongs do not make a right. For two wrongs do not make a right is a picturesque commonplace spoken to the child who bloodied the nose of the original aggressor on the playground, whilst at home the charismatic newsman relates with enthusiastic accuracy the genius behind our newest missile guidance system aimed at stopping and eliminating backyard threats to our safety, security, and freedom. Let us begin. 1. The playground and the broadcaster scene is split. On one hand, the child, the schoolyard, a fist, a nose, a drop of blood, a principal's office, a quiet voice saying, now, now. Two wrongs don't make a right. On the other hand, the adult world, the news broadcast, the polished anchor, the voice like butter and steel. He speaks of precision, of preemption, of eliminating threats, of ensuring freedom. The room nods in approval. Here, then, is a contradiction. The child is told not to retaliate, not to strike back, not to mimic the aggression done to him. But the nation, proud and tall, is celebrated when it does just that, not with fists, but with satellites, drones, warheads. So let us ask, is it wrong to strike back, or does the morality change with scale? 2. The commandment of convenience, two wrongs do not make a right, is often not a principle but a tactic. It is used by the powerful to preserve order, not justice. It is offered to the one with less power, the child, the victim, the subordinate, as a way of interrupting the cycle of vengeance. But rarely, so rarely, is it spoken to the one who threw the first punch. Rarely is it offered to governments. Rarely to corporations. Rarely to generals. And so we see that this phrase is not a moral truth. It is a domestication tool. A leash. A phrase that trains the oppressed to police their own rage while celebrating the refined violence of the state. 3. The politeness of hypocrisy. Let me be clear. I do not advocate vengeance, but I do advocate honesty. And what is dishonest is this. We teach the child not to strike back, but we praise the nation that strikes first, strikes hard, strikes often. We tell the child, take the high road. Then we elect those who promise to bomb them back to the Stone Age. We demand restraint from the individual and deliver warheads from the collective. This is not morality. This is theater. This is aesthetics pretending to be ethics. 4. The function of the phrase, let's look at the phrase itself. Two wrongs do not make a right. It sounds like math, as if morality were arithmetic, as if injustice plus injustice equals justice negative. But the world does not operate on equations. The world operates on stories. And what this phrase does is truncate the story. It says, stop the tale now. It does not ask, who struck first? Why? What happened before that? What systems? What histories? What cruelties compounded to this point? No, it wants a clean ledger. It wants neatness. It wants peace at the cost of understanding. It wants a world to be still, even if it remains unjust. 5. The child who struck back. Now let us turn to the boy in the playground. He was pushed, mocked, cornered, perhaps even bloodied first. No adult saw. He swings, connects. The crowd gasps. And suddenly he is the problem. Not the one who tormented him, but the one who made a scene. Why? Because he disrupted the appearance of order. He visibly responded. And in so doing, he exposed a violence that was already present. The adult who says two wrongs don't make a right is often not trying to prevent harm. They are trying to preserve the illusion that all is well. They want quiet, but truth is rarely quiet, and justice even less so. 6. Precision violence, meanwhile, back in the living room, the television glows. The newsman with gleaming teeth praises a new missile. He calls it precise. He calls it strategic. He calls it necessary. And no one says, two wrongs don't make a right. No one says, we must not meet aggression with aggression. Why? Because the scale makes the act sacred. Because the vocabulary has shifted. Now it is not violence. It is security. It is not vengeance. It is defense. It is not bloodshed. It is freedom preservation. And so, violence becomes invisible if you say it with enough polish. 7 words has covered this as a lesson. Morality can be hidden under language. The same act, a strike, a blow, a missile, can be read as wrong or right depending on the words that frame it. The child is retaliating. The state is protecting. The boy lost control. The general exercised strength. The playground was a scene of aggression. The battlefield is a theater of operations. This is linguistic alchemy. It transforms cruelty into virtue. And the alchemist, the one who does the transforming, he wears a suit. He speaks on camera. He receives awards. 8. If you believe it, live it, and so the fragment turns a phrase against itself. If two wrongs do not make a right, then hold shut your mouth and say not that two wrongs do not make a right. That is, if you truly believe this moral, then you must apply it universally, not just to the child who fought back, not just to the poor man who stole bread after being robbed of dignity, not just to the protester who shattered a window after generations of quiet pleading. No, apply it to your armies, to your companies, to your politics, to your government. If you cannot, then admit the phrase is not a belief. It is a tool. And tools, my friends, are not truths. 9. The cost of convenience. There is a cost to using picturesque commonplaces. They sound good. They tidy things up. But they often conceal the very injustice they claim to cure. When you say, two wrongs don't make a right to a child who has suffered, without investigating what preceded the second wrong, you protect the first wrong. You enshrine it. You say, what he did to you is unfortunate, but what you did to him is unacceptable. You reward invisibility. You punish visibility. This is how injustice persists, not through monsters, but through manners. 10. Justice. And the mess, let me say something unpopular. Justice is messy. It does not fit in a proverb. It does not rhyme. It does not resolve in a single sentence. It requires context, discernment, memory, and courage. It requires knowing that not all retaliation is revenge. Sometimes it is reckoning. Sometimes it is the body asserting that it cannot be trampled without reply. Sometimes it is not two wrongs, but defense itself. And if we punish all such defense under the umbrella of two wrongs, then we make of our ethics a tomb. 11. What shall we teach? So what do we tell the child? Do we say, hit back? Not always. But perhaps we say this. You are not wrong to defend yourself. You are not evil because you refuse to be a victim. But there are other ways to fight. And I want to show you what they are. And we say to the charismatic newsman and the generals he speaks for, you, too, must answer, for you, too, are swinging fists. Only yours land on villages, not playgrounds. Let us no longer apply rules downward, only toward the small. Let us dare to be consistent. 12. Closing the phrase is a lie when it is not lived fully. The phrase is a violence when it is spoken to silence those who already suffer. The phrase is a mirror when held up to our own duplicity. And so tonight, I ask you not to repeat what sounds wise, but to look, to examine, to see. The boy on the playground and the drone in the sky are not so different. One wears a bruise, the other leaves a crater, but both cry out from the same wound, the wound of being struck and not believed. So the next time you're tempted to say, two wrongs do not make a right, pause. Ask what came before. Ask who has power here. Ask who benefits from silence. And if the answer is uncomfortable, good. It means you are no longer asleep.